everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into something that I know a lot of you are thinking about,
Oh, yeah.
especially as we're seeing kind of a change in, I guess, what people are looking for out of their work these days.
hmm
We're going to be looking at building a company culture
Okay.
that isn't just about, endless work, but about growth and fulfillment too,
Right.
especially, as I said, for those younger professionals coming up.
Yes, and what's interesting is we're not just going to theorize about this.
Yeah,
You've actually shared with me two really practical sources.
exactly.
One is an article from Solvio,
Mm-hmm.
written by a successful entrepreneur who's been in the trenches,
Yes.
and the other dives into the motivations of younger professionals.
Okay.
And it's from the LSE Business Review.
Exactly. And we're getting real world advice here. And I
Yeah.
think that's what makes this deep dive so valuable.
Yeah.
Both articles stress that having a growth oriented culture isn't just some fluffy perk.
Right.
It's directly tied to how well a business actually performs.
That's right. And in fact, the Solvio article's author
Yeah.
makes a really compelling point. When employees feel fulfilled,
Okay.
it has this ripple effect.
Mm-hmm.
They're happier,
Yeah.
they provide better customer service,
Okay.
and ultimately, the business grows.
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win for everyone.
It makes you think, like, if a company's struggling,
Yeah.
maybe it's not just about the product or the market.
Right.
Maybe it's about,
How people feel when they walk through the door each morning.
yeah, how people feel when they walk through the door each morning.
Yeah.
So how do we create that environment?
Right.
Both articles point to leadership as the key,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not just about setting targets and,
And being the boss, right?
being the boss, right?
Yeah.
What makes a good leader in this type of environment?
Yeah. Definitely not just that old school command and control
Yeah.
style.
Right.
What struck me about the Solvio article was the emphasis on authenticity and leadership.
Okay.
The author actually shares their own struggles and moments where they felt insecure, especially as a role model to younger female employees.
Yeah.
And they realize that trying to appear perfect actually created a barrier
Interesting.
between them and their team.
That's so refreshing to hear.
Yeah.
It completely dismantles that whole, like I said, the command and control
Yeah.
leadership style.
Yeah.
So it sounds like being relatable and approachable is actually more effective.
Absolutely. And this ties in perfectly with what the LSE article highlights about younger professionals.
Okay.
They're looking for leaders who are genuine,
Mm-hmm.
who are invested in their growth,
Yeah.
and who create a space where they feel comfortable speaking up.
So it's not just about being the boss. It's
Mhm.
about being a mentor and a guide.
Yeah.
Someone who's invested in their team's success.
Yeah, and the LSE article actually quotes Suzanne Iser,
Okay.
who's a director at Beiersdorf AG, and she puts it perfectly. She says, they, meaning young professionals, are courageous, know what they want, and can articulate it. They have trust in themselves and have worked hard to ensure they can make the most of their education. The learning for companies is that we must listen to what young people want. If we don't, they will move on with no hard feelings.
Wow.
Right.
That's a powerful statement.
It is?
It's a wake-up call for companies that are stuck in their old ways.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into some practical tips.
Okay.
The Solvio article gives us 5 actionable steps to build a growth-oriented culture.
I like it.
And the first one is so simple yet so powerful.
Okay.
Listening,
Okay.
and not just passively hearing what someone's saying,
Right.
but actively engaging with their ideas.
And this isn't just about making employees feel good. It's a strategic advantage.
Okay.
The Solvio author shares a story
All right.
about how actively listening to their team
Mm-hmm.
helped them uncover and address potential problems before they escalated.
So active listening isn't just about being nice.
No.
It's about getting ahead of the curve,
Yeah,
potentially saving the company time and resources.
absolutely.
Now, the second tip is approachability.
Okay.
And this resonated with me because I've definitely worked in places where leaders seem so busy and stressed that it felt intimidating to even ask a question.
Right. And the Solvio author acknowledges that.
Okay.
They admit to struggling with this themselves.
Yeah.
Especially when they first became a leader.
Okay.
They had to learn how to be more grounded
Yeah.
and create a space where their team felt comfortable coming to them with any issue, big or small.
It sounds like even small things.
Yeah.
Like a manager's demeanor or body language can make a huge difference in how approachable they seem.
Absolutely. The Solvio author realized that their team, especially the younger women that they mentored,
Okay.
were looking to them for guidance and support.
Yeah.
And if they were constantly stressed or dismissive,
Right.
It sent the message that their concerns weren't important?
That makes a lot of sense. Now, the third tip is all about inclusivity.
Okay.
And this isn't just about diversity quotas.
Right.
It's about creating an environment where everyone feels valued and their contributions are taken seriously.
Right. And the Solvio article goes beyond just talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
They actually implement this in their company by involving everyone,
Okay.
even those in entry-level positions,
Wow.
in strategic discussions.
Wait, really? How does that work?
They literally order food, create a relaxed atmosphere,
Oh, wow.
and just brainstorm together.
Okay.
It breaks down those hierarchies
Yeah.
and creates a space where everyone feels comfortable sharing their ideas regardless of their position.
That's a fantastic idea.
Mm-hmm.
It makes everyone feel like they're part of the solution,
Yeah.
not just following orders.
Right.
And this ties into the LSE article recommendation to create intergenerational working groups.
Yes.
Bringing together people with different levels of experience
Mm-hmm.
can spark incredibly innovative solutions that wouldn't have emerged otherwise.
It's like the perfect blend of experience and fresh perspectives.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
The fourth tip from Solvio is all about celebrating teamwork.
Good.
Instead of fostering competition, they emphasize rewarding group achievement.
Exactly. They've recognized that in today's world, most projects require collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
Rewarding the group, not just the individual, creates a much more positive and supportive environment.
It makes everyone feel like they're on the same team working towards a common goal.
Right.
And the final tip is one that I think is so important,
Yeah.
especially in today's fast-paced, high-pressure work culture.
Mm-hmm.
Forgiveness.
This is where the human element truly shines through.
Yeah.
The Solvio author talks about the pressure they felt to be perfect, especially as a role model.
Right?
But they realized that embracing their own imperfections
Yeah.
and showing vulnerability actually made them a better leader.
It's about creating a space where it's okay to make mistakes as long as we learn from them.
Yes, and that brings us to the LSE article. And it's 10 strategies for harnessing the unique talents of young professionals.
All right.
We'll dive into those in detail in the next part of this deep dive.
Yeah.
But they build upon everything we've discussed so far,
Okay.
creating a culture of openness,
Yeah.
collaboration, and continuous learning.
So stay tuned because we're just getting started.
This is going to be good.
This is going to be good.
So welcome back.
Yes.
You remember that LSE article we mentioned?
Yes.
The one that dives into the motivations of young professionals?
Yes.
Well, it actually lays out 10 strategies for building a company culture
Oh, wow.
that really attracts and engages them.
Yes, I was so excited to get to these.
Yeah.
They feel very actionable,
Okay.
which I know is something you appreciate.
I do.
So let's just jump right into it.
Okay.
The first one is listen without prejudice.
Okay.
Such a simple phrase, but feels really profound.
It is. I think what they're getting at is the need to really set aside any assumptions we might have about younger generations.
Right.
The stereotypes
The stereotypes.
about them being entitled or glued to their phones.
Right.
It's about approaching them with open minds
Mm.
and really hearing what they have to say.
That makes a lot of sense. It connects back to what the Solvio entrepreneur was saying about the power of active listening. It's not just about being polite. It's about recognizing that everyone, regardless of their age or experience, has valuable insights to offer.
Exactly. And strategy number 2 builds on that idea.
Okay.
It's about forming intergenerational working groups.
Okay.
Think about the potential when you bring together seasoned professionals with their years of experience
Yeah.
and younger team members who are often brimming with new ideas
Yes.
and a different perspective on problem solving.
Oh, I love that. It's like a cross-pollination of ideas. You get the wisdom of experience combined with the fresh energy and the tech savviness of younger generations.
What's not to love?
What's not to love?
Right.
All right, strategy number 3.
Okay, this one's good.
Framing decisions with purpose. This really speaks to the values of younger professionals.
Yeah.
It's about considering the impact of decisions, not just on the bottom line,
Right?
but on the community, the environment, the bigger picture.
Yes. This one really resonates with me.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us, especially younger folks,
Mm-hmm.
we're looking for work that feels meaningful,
Yeah,
that aligns with our values.
for sure.
It's not just about a paycheck anymore.
It's not just about a paycheck.
And companies are starting to realize this.
Yeah.
By framing decisions with purpose, leaders are not only attracting top talent, but they're also creating a more engaged and motivated workforce. It's a win-win.
It is a win-win.
Okay, on to strategy number 4.
Okay.
Communicating and clarifying.
Okay.
This seems like a no-brainer,
Yeah.
but the LSE article emphasizes the importance of not just communicating decisions,
Right.
but also explaining the rationale behind them.
Yes, and this is crucial for building trust
Yes,
and buy-in,
absolutely.
especially when you have, younger employees who might be newer to the workforce. When they understand the why behind a decision, they're more likely to support it, even if it's not what they initially expected.
It's about treating people with respect,
Yes.
acknowledging that they're capable of understanding complex issues.
Transparency goes a long way.
It does.
Okay, strategy number 5 is one that I think is essential
Right.
for any company that wants to thrive
Okay.
in today's rapidly changing world.
Let's hear it.
Investing in skills development.
Absolutely. This isn't just about sending people to the occasional training seminar.
Right.
It's about creating a culture of continuous learning
Yes.
where employees are encouraged to explore new skills, take on challenging projects,
Yeah.
constantly expand their knowledge base.
And this ties back to, that whole idea of a growth-oriented culture. It's about creating an environment where people feel supported to evolve,
Yes.
to push themselves beyond their comfort zones,
Right.
and to become the best versions of themselves.
It's about investing in your people,
Yes.
not just as employees, but as individuals with their own unique potential.
I love that.
Okay, strategy number 6,
Okay.
cultivating an inclusive culture.
Okay.
This is something we touched on earlier, but it's worth emphasizing again.
So important. And the LSE article makes the point that inclusivity isn't just about diversity quotas.
Right.
It's about creating a space where everyone feels like they belong,
Yeah.
regardless of their background, beliefs, or experiences.
It's about fostering a sense of psychological safety,
Yes.
where people feel comfortable sharing their ideas, taking risks, and being their authentic selves
Yes.
without fear of judgment.
And that psychological safety is so important for innovation and creativity.
Absolutely.
When people feel like they can be themselves, they're more likely to come up with, those outside-the-box solutions that can really move a company forward.
Absolutely. Now, strategy number 7 reminds us that the world is changing, and so are the needs and preferences of younger generations. It's called stay current.
All right.
Companies need to be adaptable, willing to challenge their own assumptions,
Right.
and constantly learning about what motivates and inspires the next generation of talent.
It's about being willing to let go of outdated ways of doing things, embrace new technologies, new approaches to work,
Right.
and new ways of connecting with employees. If you're stuck in the past,
Yeah.
you're going to lose out on some amazing talent.
Exactly. Strategy number 8
Okay.
is called Look Beyond the CV.
Okay.
It encourages companies to look beyond just grades and academic achievements
Okay.
when evaluating potential candidates. It's about recognizing that potential comes in many forms.
Yes.
And that sometimes the most valuable qualities,
Yeah.
like resilience, adaptability,
Yeah.
a willingness to learn, can't be measured on a transcript.
This reminds me of something we were talking about earlier.
Okay.
The importance of forgiveness.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that people make mistakes, that we all have different paths, and that sometimes the most unconventional candidates can bring the most innovative ideas to the table.
That's such a great connection. It's about seeing the potential in people, not just their past accomplishments.
Exactly.
Okay, strategy number 9 might seem counterintuitive at first,
Okay.
but it's called encourage experimentation.
Interesting.
It's about creating a safe space where employees feel comfortable trying new things, taking risks, and yes, even failing.
This goes back to what the Salvio entrepreneur was saying about embracing vulnerability.
Yes.
It's about creating a culture where failure isn't seen as a sign of weakness, but as an opportunity to learn and grow.
Exactly. And when people feel safe to experiment,
Yeah.
that's when the real magic happens.
The magic happened.
You get those breakthrough innovations that wouldn't have been possible in a risk-averse environment.
So true.
And finally, strategy number 10 brings us full circle.
Okay.
Provide opportunities for growth. It's about giving people the chance to stretch their skills, take on new challenges, and develop their leadership potential.
This is so important for keeping employees engaged and motivated.
Absolutely.
When people feel like they're learning and growing, they're more likely to stay with the company long term.
Absolutely. And it creates a pipeline of future leaders
Yes.
who are already steeped in the company's culture and values.
So these 10 strategies paint a pretty clear picture of what a growth-oriented company culture looks like.
You do.
It's about creating an environment that's open,
Yeah.
collaborative, and supportive, where everyone feels valued and empowered to contribute their best.
And it's about recognizing that building this kind of culture is an ongoing process.
Yes.
It requires constant attention, adaptation, and a willingness to learn from both our successes and our mistakes.
I think the key takeaway here is that it's all about the people.
It is.
When you invest in your employees' growth and well-being, you're ultimately investing in the success of your company. And speaking of investing in people, I'm really interested to hear more about that final point from the Salvio article.
Yeah?
The power of forgiveness. Let's dive into that in the next part of our deep dive. So welcome back. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from the importance of authentic leadership to those 10 incredible strategies from the LSE Business Review. But there's one final piece I want to explore.
Okay.
And it's the idea of forgiveness as a key ingredient in a truly growth-oriented company culture.
It's interesting, isn't it? Both the Salvio article and the LSE piece touch on this idea of embracing mistakes as learning opportunities.
Yes.
But the Salvio entrepreneur really emphasizes the power of forgiveness.
Yeah.
Not just for employees, but for leaders themselves.
Yes. They shared that personal story about the pressure they felt to be perfect, especially as a role model for younger employees.
Yeah.
But they learned that trying to maintain that facade of infallibility was actually harmful.
It's almost like trying to be perfect creates this invisible wall between leaders and their teams.
Yes.
It makes it harder for employees to relate to their leaders.
Right.
And it definitely makes them less likely to admit their own mistakes.
Which ironically hinders growth.
Exactly.
If everyone's afraid to make a mistake, they're less likely to take risks, to experiment, to push boundaries.
Right. It creates this stagnant environment where innovation struggles to thrive.
And the Salvio entrepreneur realized this.
Yeah.
They talked about learning to embrace their own imperfections.
Right.
And to show vulnerability. They discovered that admitting their mistakes and owning up to them actually made them a more effective leader.
It makes them human.
Yeah.
Makes them relatable.
It does.
And it creates a space where employees feel safe to take risks, to experiment.
Right.
Knowing that if they stumble, they won't be shamed or punished.
And this is where forgiveness becomes such a powerful tool for growth.
Yes.
It's not about letting people off the hook or ignoring mistakes.
Yeah.
It's about creating a culture where mistakes are seen as opportunities for learning, not as failures to be punished.
Right.
It's about shifting our mindset from one of blame and shame to one of curiosity and growth.
I like that.
Imagine the kind of innovation that can flourish when people feel safe to experiment, to fail forward,
Yes.
to learn from their missteps without fear of reprisal.
It's transformative.
It is.
And this applies to all levels of an organization, not just leadership.
Yeah.
Imagine a team where colleagues support each other, where they help each other learn from mistakes, and where they celebrate both successes and failures as opportunities for collective growth.
It's about building a culture of empathy and understanding. It's about recognizing that we're all human, that we all make mistakes, and that those mistakes, when approached with a growth mindset, can be our greatest teachers.
And that's a beautiful way to wrap up this deep dive.
It is.
It's not just about implementing strategies or ticking boxes.
Oh, wait.
It's about cultivating a deeper sense of humanity in the workplace. A space where people feel supported, encouraged, and empowered to grow, both individually and collectively.
So as you go back to your own work lives, think about how you can foster this culture of forgiveness and growth. Maybe it's about being more open about your own mistakes. Or maybe it's about offering support to a colleague who's struggling.
Every small act of forgiveness, every gesture of understanding contributes to creating a more positive and fulfilling work environment.
That's it for this deep dive. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and are feeling inspired to cultivate a more growth-oriented and fulfilling work experience for yourself and for those around you.
Until next time.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep learning, and keep growing.